Hey guys, this is GamerCow showing off in post-commentary form the finale thing of Super Mario Star Road with all these secret stars, and there is the first one. Note that these are done in the order that was on the sign, not the order that I did them in, because I went into them without a particular order. I just wanted to get some of them done whilst I remembered. Most of it actually was ease of access. The ones that were on the bottom floor of the castle I tended to do first, and then stuff. And also note that I do take very liberal editing with half of this, because this whole thing took over an hour and a half, and that's including 2 scrapped recordings of over half an hour doing nothing. This particular star took about 15 minutes to get hold of, so yeah, 15 minutes of just doing this is not exactly that entertaining. What you are supposed to do is you're supposed to use the sliding momentum glitch thing and get a couple of frames of sliding on the blue hill here, and then that gives you enough speed and jump height that you can jump onto the wall and wall kick to the star. It's a lot easier than it sounds. The camera doesn't like this section for that. It's fairly obvious why. And yeah, we'd eventually just skip to the point where I get the star, because yeah, even this, it still took a lot of effort to try and get, but this was about the best that I could really come up with for this. So, intermittent with the star gathering stuff, I am going to eventually succeed, but I'm also going to talk about the project in general and, you know, random stuff like that, because this is the last video, this is it. This project is finally, like, coming to an end, and I make that sound as if that was a terrible thing to do in the first place. But no, what I mean really is that it was it's like, it's over. It's another one of those projects like the Galaxy 2 one that was absolutely gigantic, but it's done, and it doesn't feel like it. It really doesn't. Anyway, you saw where the star was at the beginning of this bit, and because it's such a small area, I'm not going to cut this part out. With the later ones, it can take a while to reach, even though you see them straight away, so I cut those, but not this one. The trick with this is that you cannot actually do very many different jump types off of the cogs themselves. You can do one jump, you can actually do a backflip, which is something I didn't know until right at the end, but you can't, oops, you can knock your mic if you want as well, but that's not really the idea. No, you can't do long jumps, you can't do cartwheels, you can't do wall kicks, and you can't do anything more than a single jump. Yeah, you can't do double, triple jumps. I've screwed it up right here because I thought that block was getting in the way, because you can do a triple jump if you get a double jump going first. It's the old hill thing that we learned about in course 10, and it keeps recurring in the game because it's quite important. But yeah, it turns out that you actually need the block in order to get up here, and I didn't actually know that at the time. I was expecting to be able to wall kick off of the thing and get up that way, but you know, the cog, but it doesn't work. So I kind of realized this after this attempt right here. Yeah, you're not gonna get enough height from that, so you gotta restart that. Anyway, whilst this is going on, because I've basically said everything you need to for this one, the hack itself, absolutely incredible. I'm gonna put the link to the demo, like, trailer thing. It's the trailer for the full game, but I'm gonna put the link to Skylox's video on the description of this one. The reason I'm doing that as opposed to the full, like, video itself, or the full, like, hack itself, is partly because I don't have the link for it immediately, but also because you can get it pre-patched, which is what I did, or you can get the patch file itself, and I know, you know, one thing isn't going to work for everyone, so that's sort of why. But yeah, the hack itself was absolutely incredible. It was really creative, there's a lot of cool stuff in there, massive number of references to absolutely everything ever, and it was just great. There wasn't very much with the hack itself that I disliked. I think the one major gripe about the hack itself that I would have, apart from, in terms of difficulty-wise, would have been the fact of the 121st star, the Hidden Palace finale, was so much harder and massively underprepared for in comparison to everything else. Like, everything else was really one like difficulty level. It got harder as it went along, but it wasn't that hard. Nothing was, to me, as hard as the original game, which is kind of funny, really, but stuff like Tick-Tock Clock Star 4 was much harder than almost anything in this game was. The 100 coin stars, again, were much harder, because this game was a lot nicer that way, I guess. And yeah, this is me trying to work out how on earth I'm supposed to get up here, because I didn't think of a backflip working here. Usually it wouldn't, though. In my own defense, apart from my natural dislike of backflips in this game, in my defense, usually backflips do not work when you can't jump on a hill. Like, when you can't double jump, usually you can't backflip. So, it's perfectly acceptable in a way. Anyway, this star, very easy to end up getting, it's just up there. I screwed it up the first time I ended up getting up there because I'm stupid and I can't fly properly, but it is basically just using the wing cap to do triple jump stuff at the top of that. It's really simple. So back to the game itself. My main gripe design-wise would be the fact that it is so much smaller than the original game, and I'd be interested to see how many unused maps there are in this, because I'm sure I know there's at least 5 courses in the original game that I can think of which had secondary areas, stuff like the sunken ship in Jolly Roger Bay, the igloo in what's its face, the Snowman Mountain, course 10. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I know which one I mean. It's just, yeah. And the pyramid in the sandy area was another one. But there was nothing like that in this game, and I'm kind of wondering just how many of those maps ended up not going used. Because, okay, obviously I know nothing about Mario 64 hacking in comparison to even Mario World, and I don't really know very much about Mario World hacking either. I just pick up some stuff, but I've never done it, and I don't intend to either because I don't have time. But if it's anything like Super Mario World, which has the set number of exits that you can go with, then I'm fairly sure that this game would have had a fair few unused maps by the end of it from all of these secondary areas, and it sort of disappointed me in the end that there's just these star replicas rather than 1 or 2 areas that were from the unused maps and stuff. I thought it would have been a nicer touch to do that, but I know it would have been a lot more effort to do, and yeah, there's only so much work you can put in. I know this took a long time as it is, so yeah, stuff happens basically. I think it's a fantastic game as it is, but that's personally what I would have tried to have done, because it just feels a little bit small for me. I know people have said though that it's good that way because everything's more meaningful, and I agree with that, but it's just my opinion. I'm used to the original's larger size and stuff. Anyway, if you can make it out there, the star is on top of the log up there. First question is, how the bloody hell are you supposed to get up there? And that's a very good question, and the actual answer comes from those boxes over there. Those boxes is the reason I'm keeping that. Weren't there originally, but I thought you had to go up to the end of the level and get up from there. Then I quickly realized the thing is still twice as high again, so it's a case of what now? And it turns out the actual way you're supposed to do this is to get a crazy ass wall kick going between the 2 logs where the boxes are. Absolutely ridiculous, but it plays on the mechanic that the wall kicks can go much further than, much further in the direction that they're kicking in. It's hard to describe, but if you consider the wall kicks in a 3-dimensional coordinate plane where Z is going straight up. By the way, failed jump there. But yeah, if Z's going straight up, X is the direction that you're facing, the wall directions, and Y is horizontal movement, if you like. The X direction is a lot. You can go a lot further in the X direction than most other games, and there, for some reason, I thought there might have been something in the boxes. There was a proof of concept thing for myself, thinking, okay, there's nothing in the boxes then, so yay. But yeah, the idea is wall kicks can travel a lot. Yeah, the walls can be a lot further apart, and you'll still be able to get the wall kick off and still climb, which is something that's sort of unique to this game engine, I guess. And here I try and use the camera mode that I discovered during the 37th part, I guess. Like 2 parts ago, basically. I tried to use that because I figured the other camera modes were going to screw this up. And to an extent, I'm right. But unfortunately, this mode, camera-wise, doesn't help either. But you can see Lakitu Cam is beyond useless for this. I'm surprised I didn't take 4 units of full damage there. But, oh well. So basically, this is going to be a whole lot of attempts of me trying to get this star by doing, using the various cameras and stuff like that. And I think the problem with this is that wall kicks can also travel in the Y direction, going back to my coordinate scheme from earlier. You don't just go in a straight line between the walls. It is also possible to travel side to side with a wall kick as well. And that is the absolute biggest problem with the wall kicks in this sort of scenario, because when the camera keeps on changing directions and you've got to hold forwards in order to keep going between the 2 walls, how are you supposed to do it? You can't actually do it without having some horizontal movement, but then you get into the whole angles up against the wall problem, and eventually you end up getting to the point where you'll not be able to control where you're going, which makes this extremely hard, even though it shouldn't be, and it doesn't look that hard, but it really is. However, it turns out Mario Cam does a little bit better with this. It's not perfect, because eventually you get so high that the stage it kind of ignores you. It doesn't try and follow you, like right now. So it still ends up devolving, but it doesn't devolve that quickly. So it is possible to get up by minimizing how much you can't see. It's still ridiculous, but it's there. And then this slash jump over here looks kind of crazy as well, but it's fine. Overall though, most of what this game has kind of taught me, I guess, is that I really don't like the Mario 64 engine. Like, it's not even rose-tinted lens type of effect either, because it's the complete opposite now. I used to have no troubles with it at all as a kid. I mean, I wasn't any better than I am now. By the way, most pointless freaking star ever. If you just tank a hit and yeah, on the lava because it doesn't kill you, you can easily get this. I try and do it no damage and completely fail. But yeah, just tank a hit on the lava. It's these. Oh, sorry. Whatever. It's the easiest one to find, and it's the easiest one to actually collect as well, so I really don't see the point in this. The original star in this level was harder to get. Oh well. But yeah, the game engine itself just really doesn't feel like you're ever in proper control. Maybe I'm too used to Mario World and that, but even the other 3D Marios, I am much more in control, and that's including Galaxy with its weird planet mechanics and stuff. Also, a star is over there, that's the one we're gonna try and get. First thoughts on this was to do a triple jump from this little edge bit here, and I was a bit slow killing Chuck here, so he goes and kills me instead. Fantastic. But yeah, the first thoughts was to do that, but it turns out you don't get enough distance off of that. So I end up spending about 20 minutes trying to do that, and it doesn't actually work. You'll see the life count goes down quite rapidly for most of this at this point because I died several times stupidly trying to get up here. No point showing that when the video is just a whole show and tell thing of the actual mechanics and whatnot. I don't know, that was just my opinion on the matter. I end up picking up the extra life on top of the moon after every attempt here because I was just like, yeah, screw this, I don't want my life count going down that much, I suppose. I don't know, that's a completely pointless thing, but oh well, that happens. So anyway, yeah, there's several things with this game's mechanics that I really don't like. The major ones being the fact that if you're at all off the edge of any platform, you fall off and you don't get a chance to snap back. And yeah, this is just several attempts at that. Well, it's not really several at all, because I just cut most of them out. It's kind of pointless. Because I found that in the end, what I actually wanted to do was to get a long jump from the very end of the platform thing. The problem is, the camera angles don't really allow you to do that, because they're constantly changing all the time, and it's like, how? Also, you can't stand on that bit there. That should have been obvious, but it wasn't, so whatever. But yeah, you've got to get to the very end of this thing, and it's actually not that easy to get a long jump off afterwards. It's very easy to get to the end of it if you just crawl along this bit, but it's so hard to get a jump off afterwards. It's just crazy. Anywho, with that, yeah, I've kind of complained. The camera is obviously not that great. There's not much you can do about that, really. But, I mean, it does the job most of the time, but there was quite a lot of times where a lot of people in the comments picked up as well that it was just the camera failing made it so much harder than it needed to be. But I think the wall jumping and platform sensitivity aspects made things a lot harder as well. The fact that there's 1,010,000 different types of hill doesn't help either, because that really makes you unsure of what type of platform you're going to be landing on, whether you can safely stand on it, whether you can get long jumps off of it, and various other things. So it makes it more of a guessing game than stuff like Super Mario World, or even the original games and stuff, or any other 3D game in the series. And that was a really retardedly failed version of that jump there. I don't know. So what I did in the end to get this, by the way, was I changed the camera to the fixed mode one, and this actually works. It's a bit tricky to line up. I mean, I see everything there, but I wasn't confident that I could get a long jump off in the right direction. So what I end up doing is I end up going right to the very edge, because yeah, I didn't get the long jump off there. So what I end up doing is I go right to the very edge, I face the star, and I fix the camera there. You could probably do this with Mario Mode Cam as well, so this is not really that necessary, but I found it the easiest way of doing this, so yeah, that's just what I did. So yeah, I think my complaints with the engine have kind of come through the whole game. I don't think I really need to repeat them any more than I have, so yeah, we'll just leave that topic at that. And that was actually the very last star I picked up in this entire game, so I guess hooray for that, in a sense. So now we go to Mushroom Town, and the star, as you can see, is on top of the mushroom house there. That particular place is the one with the red coin, with the very first triple jump to wall kick jump, basically, in this entire game. It's been a very prominent mechanic throughout a lot of the more advanced stuff to get this going right here. I figured I might be able to get up there with a triple jump somehow, but because it's a mushroom roof and it's too tall in the first place, you can't actually do that, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, mushroom tops, in case you're not that familiar with them, it's a bit like roofs in most stuff. You can't grab onto them and you kind of slip off of them very easily. You can't wall kick off the side of them either, so I mean, not that you could get a wall kick off the side of it here anyway, but that's besides the point. So this doesn't really work, which is kind of annoying. So we just very quickly try and line ourselves up. Yep, I see the height's not going to be enough, so that's kind of lame. I try and get some sort of wall kicky thing and end up glitching there, which I thought was pretty hilarious, actually. It's an interesting thing, I suppose. And in the end, I decided I would go up the top of the mountain and see what I could do from there. And I remembered then Mr. Fly Guy is up here. And pro tip for Dudo Faces, don't jump there. That's exactly what has almost happened to me several times during the game itself and just not quite happened at all. But yeah, what you've got to do is you've actually got to bounce off of the Fly Guy and fly all the way from the top of the mountain to on top of that house. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that is the only way you're going to get enough height. It is just really crazy. The catch is with this, and this I do not know how you would solve if you were just using Mario Cam. The catch is, as you can see, when you fall down too far, unfortunately the camera does what it does with Lakitu, and it just stays underneath you, and it's impossible to see where you're going. You can't land on top of that house without a lot of luck. And if you fail, like the Vanish Cat one, you've got to restart, because the Fly Guy is permanently dead, blah blah blah. So what I did, my super novel situational solution to this was to actually go ahead and use the fixed camera mode. Because what I did, basically, I got that same like position just now where you could see the star and you were on top of the mountain. I fixed the camera on top of the mountain and I hovered down from there. As ridiculous as that sounds, it actually really works, and it's pretty hilarious, to be honest. So we'll see it now, it's changing. So I fixed the camera, once I've stopped running around like an idiot. Fixed the camera right about there, and hover down. You don't get much more out of it in a sense, because you can't see where your shadow is. That's another problem with the emulation. You can't see where your shadow is, so it's very hard to see exactly how fast you're going, but you can stay flying in a straight direction, which is the more important thing. And yeah, it's a very fun solution to a very nasty problem otherwise, I guess. That was the second star I got, so yeah, good times. And what are we on to now? Slidey Secret, I think. Yeah, the sand one. So this one took me a long time to get. It's obvious where it is because you see it right at the very start, but I spent about 45 minutes in scrapped recording doing this, and whilst I'm not going to show it just now, you cannot do a triple jump to wall kick to get up there, as you know, from the outside ones. You know, you've got to do it in a different way, because what happens with the wall kick, if you're moving backwards in order to try and how best to put this, if you're moving backwards after a wall kick to try and grab onto the ledge that you kicked off of, you're gonna lose most of the vertical height that you gained from a wall kick. And you can't do that in this thing. You've got to get onto the ledge at the highest point of your wall kick from a triple jump. The only way you can do this is to abuse the fact that you can horizontally move during a wall kick and actually do a triple jump wall kick from here, which by the way the camera absolutely hates, as you can see. But you get a triple jump, you get a wall kick going. I think I do it from this direction actually. Yeah, you get the thing off, and basically you grab onto the side of the thing here, like that. So much agony trying to pull that off, and that was just really crazy. And, well, there's one other thing I'm going to show with this. There's another one of those designer glitches, where the game designers wouldn't have seen this glitch because their actual level layout doesn't incorporate it. It's fairly obvious that this place is a redo of Peach's secret slide, and what happened there is that they had around the start goal there was, or the starting line, there was walls on either side of it, so you couldn't jump outside of the starting line. Here, however, there are more than, there are hills there, but you can jump over the hill, which means you effectively skip the starting line. However, the starting line does actually extend further along than it looks, so what happens here is that you don't see the timer, but the timer still starts. This means you have to still get down there in 18 seconds to get the star, which of course I'm not doing, this is demonstration purposes, and you actually don't get the star even though you technically don't see that you started the timer. It's really funny. At least I thought it was really funny, that's why I wanted to show it off. Anyway, that just leaves one more star. It's in Hidden Palace Finale. I used save states during this because I didn't want to dedicate over 3 hours of my life to this, because the star is in the most ridiculous position ever. This is a super massively slidey rooftop, by the way, and the star is right there. You cannot see it until you get all the way up here. The physics of sliding on this thing are ridiculous, and it just does not work. So yeah, I save stated it. I could have done it without, but I was just no. It took me over half an hour every time to get up here at this point, and it was just not worth it. So now that you basically know what's going to go on for the rest of this, I want to just hit the last point to basically thank everybody for watching this, to be honest. I think I should really thank Raukau for the secret advertising, basically, because of him commenting on the first video, and hundreds of people came over from that, and there's been a massive explosion on the channel since then, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. So many more people watching the stuff now, and that's really cool. So thank you very much for that, I guess, and I hope you guys will stick around for what else comes rather than just staying for this one series, because I think I've got a lot of good stuff that I want to do. Yeah, I'm not going to reveal exactly what I'll be playing next, just in case it doesn't work, because I haven't necessarily tried recording anything from what I want to do next yet, and therefore, just in case of saving disappointment, etc., I'm not going to say what I'm going to do next. That's the thing I always do, but whatever. I am going to finish off the Pokemon TCG LP first though, and I do apologize for those who have been waiting for that, but this was just so much more fun to record. Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the TCG game, and it's a fantastic thing, but with this being so new and it's so, you know, undiscovered for me, it was just much better for me to play at the time, and I enjoyed it a lot more. So yeah. I think that's just about it. Anything else would probably be in the video description, so yeah. Just one final thing to show off here. If you save and quit from the game itself, you actually get back to the Mario face screen, which does have changed music. It sort of surprised me first time I saw this, because it's not actually in the main game itself. You don't see it unless you save and quit. But the fact that it's got changed music means it must have been thought about. So yeah. Anyway, this has been Gamer Cow playing Super Mario Star Road, blah blah blah. Join us next LP, yeah.